2-year span that I've been at home, I needed something as well as my fitness that give me structure, give me routine. So all my coaching, and I've coached over 10 athletes, has been for free.
Yeah.
And the website was built for free by somebody that I helped with a running plan. So so all the coaching, that business there is set up, ready. So when I leave the army, that I can use it as a platform, as a second income, it's a stepping stone.
You don't know my address, do you? You don't know where I live, do you, Lee? Is that right?
No.
Thank God.
Where are you in England?
Well, I'm not going to tell you because I've just seen a button on my screen that says "Go Live," and I just pressed it.
Yeah.
And I just pressed it 2 minutes about. I'm in the middle of your question there, so we have not been going live, and since 8 o'clock, we have literally just gone live a second ago. So I'm really glad that you don't know where I live, because you'd probably come around here and kick my ass. All I've got to say,
start again. We'll start again.
All I've got to say is that I humbly apologise to you, and I will say hello to everybody who's tuning in. Once again, Phil Becknett, me, trail running Phil, trying to do too many things at once. Didn't click on the start stream button, so my apologies. Me and Lee have been chatting away for the last 10 minutes, and we didn't press the go live button. And if anybody's actually there,
I was people in there then.
Well, I think Josh just went into the chat room.
Yeah.
And now he says if you see on the screen here, he says you're live, and Mr. Craig Williams is here as well. Hello, Craig. Thank you for popping in. We once again hang my head in shame, but let's not dwell on it.
I actually watched Craig's video night before last, and because my daughter has like acting, so she had an hour and a half acting. I thought perfect, and this happened exactly the same with Craig.
Oh my God.
Evening, Craig.
Sorry, everybody. This is the amazing Lee Davis here, the winner of the VOGUM from last year. We've been talking about his army background. It feels terrible to start talking about it all over again. Are you happy to continue to what we were talking about?
Let's go again. Yeah.
Let's pretend that that was just a practice
run.
Oh my God. Right. Anyway, I won't get a job at the BBC anytime soon, will I? I won't ring him up and ask if I can replace Lineker or anything like that. But
fair one.
I'll stick to the running and whatever else I'm good at. Not quite sure. Anyway, right. So we are here to talk about mental health. We're here to talk about training for ultras, endurance ultras. Lee has got a fascinating story. He's serving in the British Army. He has a brain condition that he has constant battles with, but he managed to overcome that and win the VOGUM last year, which is one of Wales's best well-known ultras, and beat the course record at the same time. He has said he's going to talk to me about everything about ultra running, the VOGUM, what he's done in the past, what he's going to do this year, his kit that he uses, all the training he does. So, Lee, you used to be in the army, didn't you, or something? I think you used to do.
Yeah,
How long were you in the army for?
I've done a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so starting with my military career then, I joined when I was 16. Joined the REME as a vehicle mechanic, and I swiftly made an exit just before I was about to start trade training. And I spent a few years working away in London and Manchester on the building sites. And then the peak of the Iraq War, I was 19, and I rejoined and finished basic training, deployed straight to Iraq. 19 years later, 2 tours of Iraq, 1 of Afghan, 1 tour in on the Russian border in Estonia. I've had 3 facial reconstruction operations, and I've been left with a rare brain condition.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's the thing that we didn't talk about earlier. I didn't understand where you got that from. So you talked to me all those different places, and a shame we have to redo it all again there. But you saw a lot of action. It definitely had a positive outlook on your mental health, but obviously you were under fire and in the war zone, so you had to have reconstruction on your face. So was that the reason why you had this condition, and that's what triggered it? Yeah.
No, so it can be linked. So
right, okay.
I've got permanent loss in the left hand side of my face. So from my last operation, I signed a waiver saying that they could damage the nerve, and the feeling could never come back. So when you go to a dentist and have your tooth out, and you have that anaesthetic, that's what my face is like, been permanent since my last operation, 2014. So this area on the left hand side of my face, I know it looks like right, but it's mirrored. This area here is permanently numb. So when I started having these like electric shocks coming from the edge of my feeling up to my eye, I thought it was just like my face, my tingling going away, or the nerve trying to repair itself. So I just stuck with it for like a couple of weeks, and then these electric shocks started going into my eye, into my brain, and they'd cripple me. I was in tears. I couldn't work, and at the time I was trained. I'd just come back from I was gonna change regiment, and I was training senior NCO, and I had a lot on my plate. I was doing quite a bit of stuff like ranges, NCO card, Fusilier development. Wow. I just could not focus because of this pain. And ultimately I went to the doctors and I said, something's wrong. I don't know what it is. And I ended up being diagnosed in February. So my initial pain was November. And then it took me until February to get diagnosed with a rare brain condition. And then I got sent home from the army, and that was 2021. So I've been home 2 years.
Wow. I feel like we're going back and forth a little bit. It's a little bit hard to work out what we should talk and what we shouldn't talk about.
Just pretend it's the first time we've spoken. We haven't already talked about it.
But you have used running, physical fitness to overcome these problems. You talked to me also earlier about giving up drinking, a full focus on physical fitness, physical activity, and obviously that's included running. But you had a good story that you want to tell me, everybody that's watching, about your first ever ultra and what your running experience was leading up to that event.
Right. Okay. So my first ever ultra marathon was the Comrades 2009. For those of you who don't know it, it's the ultimate human race. It's the biggest ultra marathon in the world. When I done it, I think it was like 15,000 people, 56 miles over the Drakensberg Mountains in South Africa. And yes, I'm a PTI. Yes, I've always been into my fitness, but I had no clue about running. To get into the event, this was in May. I decided in March. So I needed to do a marathon to qualify.
Wow.
I ended up going to Rotterdam, and I think I done one 16-mile run as a training run for this ultra marathon. And I ended up thinking I was Kipchoge and having to walk. So you needed to qualify in 4 hours, and I walked the last. I think I've got a certificate somewhere. My last 5K was 55 minutes. So I ended up coming in 3:51, just scraping the qualification. Like I said, from there I've done. I honestly don't know how many ultras. It's got to be over 20. I've run from Spain to France, but I've never competed. I've always completed. That's it there. So this is it's a 3-day multi-stage event from Lloret de Mar to Port Beau, and I didn't have a clue. I was fit in the fact of like I could run a 7.5 minute mile and a half, and I was a PTI, and everybody knew me as this fit, but I didn't have a clue. Honestly, I was so naive about running that all I was doing there was just surviving.
Mr. Cantwell quickly has a question about the army, what you're talking about there. This is obviously he wants to know what sent home means. Does that mean discharged, or does that just mean So with this, what happens is if you're not well enough to serve, like this brain condition that I've got, because of the conditions ongoing, the army then have to, it's called WIS, it's Wounded, Injured and Sick Soldiers. So I then had contact every 14 days until they can then decide whether A, they keep me in, or B, they have to medically discharge me.
that is the process. Now it's been drawn up for me because I did try returning to work last year.
Right.
So I tried going back on a GROW, it's called, it's a gradual return to work program. But because I was having attacks in front of candidates,
Right.
I was in a recruiting office, and
Oh,
because
right.
I was having attacks while speaking to candidates on the phone and things, it wasn't a suitable environment. So even in the office, I couldn't do my job. So then I was sent home, which means the army could no longer employ me, and I was medically permanently downgraded. And then I sat my medical board last year, and I'm being discharged on June the 5th.
Okay. I want to bring this picture up. It's one that you use on your sites before. Tell me a little bit more about this picture, Lee. What's the story behind it?
Right. So when I was younger, and I joined the army when I was 16. Remember, I said I joined.
Yeah.
So I was adventure training, and insignificantly, and it's only been the past year or so that it's come to light. I banged my face. I didn't think nothing much of it. Then when I
Right.
left the army, my parents said that my face was disfigured. And I went to the doctors and I had surgery when I was 18, basically realigning myself. And then I joined the army again when I was 19. And when I deployed to Iraq, I banged my face again. Now, I didn't say anything. But
Right.
it was severely disfigured again in Iraq. But I didn't say anything. But then at the time, a SAM major recognized that my face was disaligned, and he said, "Lee, what's up with your jaw?" Or Private Reese, as I was then.
Yeah.
"What's up with the jaw?" And I was like, "Oh, nothing." So I banged it in the Warrior a couple of days ago. He's like, "You need to get to the med center." Well, I went to the med center, and I was on a flight home that night, and I was having emergency surgery in Headley Court. It's like a place where injured soldiers go.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
And that was my first tour of Iraq. So being career driven,
yeah,
I knew I needed more surgery, but as we'll come on to later on, I put my career first. Promotion courses, arduous special forces courses,
right.
and then it came to a point where it was so affecting everyday life, my speech, that I had to have. That was 2014.
Mm-hmm.
I had my last surgery where I signed a waiver, and the left-hand side of my face was then permanently numb from that surgery. It's never come back.
Okay. I've got to ask about your beard. Is this something to do with why you've grown a beard, or is it just how you're rocking it at the moment? Is it something to do with your face? Yeah.
It is. Yeah. So
okay.
Being in the military for 19 years,
Mm-hmm.
you have to shave every day. Every single day. And even when you're a youngster and you could get a strong wind and your beard would disappear. Your bum fluff would disappear. You have to shave every single day. But one of my conditions and the things that trigger it is brushing my teeth, eating food, and shaving.
Right.
So when I start having these attacks, I can't shave. Like, I've been to the barber 4 or 5 times in 2 years, because of the attacks that it brings on. So that's the first reason. But the second reason is it looks cool.
It looks cool. It does the ultra runner sort of vibe, isn't it?
Like, so it's not going anywhere. I did shave. I did have to shave it off when I went back to work, when I tried that gradual return to work program. But again, it was just agitating my attacks.
Yeah.
So that was I was in work.
Yeah.
I was working then. I was in the careers office in Swansea. So that was June. This was like 6 weeks or 7 weeks before I failed my grow.
Yeah. This is you on the obviously getting your winner's medal from the man. Getting your first place at the VOGUM, which you won last year. Must have felt so good crossing that line and managed to put a lot of demons to bed. I know you did talk a lot about it on the online, about how it made you feel, and coming from these tough places, these operations, this all these things you've had to deal with, and to get this trophy. Tell me how it felt, Lee, crossing that finish line. What was going through your head when you did that?
Just massive. The biggest thing for me was confirmation. Like, we're so bad as a species in general of giving ourselves praise, like patting ourselves on the back and saying you've done well there. This for me was confirmation that I'd just gone through therapy. And I'd reframed my mindset, and I was hurting from 20 miles.
Right.
But my mind was changed, and I was winning this thing. There was nobody beating me. So when I crossed that line, it was a massive elation, because it confirmed everything that I'd put my hopes on. The fact that mindset and positive outlook, and you have a choice, that it was true. Like, I'd proven the fact that I've had 3 facial reconstruction operations. I've got a rare brain condition. It's called a suicide disease. 26% of people kill themselves because they can't handle the pain.
Wow.
And here I am, 18 months later, no training really, winning and setting a course record on a 40-mile ultramarathon. So yeah, it proved to me that no matter what situation you're in, as long as you, in your mind, decide, you've got 2 choices in life. You can either take the option where, woe betide me, I've got a brain condition, my life's, which I did have, I'm not going to lie, for the first 14, 15 months, I was struggling with it. Like, I had to go through therapy because I didn't know how to deal with the pain, like the attacks. And alongside that was like the thought. So when you think about the future, like the anxiety and stuff, like, why are you worrying about what's to come? So once I reframe my mindset, like, live in the now, you've got the choice to do positive things. If you wake up in the morning and you're in a grump, that's your fault. It's nobody else's fault. You've decided to be in that mood. So
somebody inspire you, Lee? Did you watch something? Did you see something that helped you change your mindset, or was it just woke up one morning and changed it? What happened?
No. So there's been a lot of factors in my life where I've been weak, like SF selection. I quit the second time for fear of success. So I've already said I'm a fit guy. I was smashing the hills, but because of circumstances going on back home and my past, with my credit and stuff, I convinced myself that I wasn't going to pass the security. When I was young, I was bullied as a kid in school, and all these factors have made me. And when I went through therapy, I sort of understood the brain's reaction on pain and on bad situations. So I think really this is why I've teamed up with Big Moose, and we'll speak about it later. Is restructuring your mindset has done it for me. Like, using my pain as a focus rather than a obstacle.
Do you think people are born mentally tough, that it's within you, or can you be trained to make yourself mentally tough?
People are not born anything. That for me is a fallacy. Like, knowledge is power for me, and like, it's only through bad times that we experience things that make us stronger, make us better, make us more determined. I don't think anybody's born mentally tough. It's just situations or the circumstances that you find yourselves in that will define which path you take. And like anything, it can be built. Fitness can be built. Mental toughness can be built. Fear is bullshit. So it's all. And I know it sounds like, look at this guy, like he never has a bad day. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it, but like, at least now, when I have a bad day with my attacks, there's only a certain amount of time where I kick back in and go, no, you're not letting this overcome you, or you're not succumbing to the pain again. So
It's an interesting, isn't it, the mind? Obviously, I'm very interested here. I've got a question here. What's more important, being mentally tough or mentally calm when you're really up against it in an ultra? Or is it
In
the
an
same
ultra,
thing? Is it the same thing? In an ultra,
yeah,
yeah. Let's talk about let's start
I
to move into
think
running.
mental toughness, you only really find out how tough you are when you need to. Like, so in an ultra, everybody hurts. And it's
Yeah.
just, you can analogize this like life. So an ultra marathon is just like going through life. There's points in the ultra that you will feel like shit,
Yeah.
but they pass. There's points in life where you're going to feel like shit, but it
Yeah.
passes.
Yeah, it's tough at the time, isn't it? You know, the more experience you have, like you said, you've run 20 ultras now. I've only run 3 or 4, and you always forget. I always forget, but you do. You're absolutely right. You do pass it, and you've got to. So, what do you do, Lee, to when you are going in that low point? Do you have a mantra? Do you just know it's going to come out of it? Do you go through a thought process? What happens in your brain?
I don't really have a mantra as such. We know I'm all about positivity and stuff like that. But like you've just said there, you've done 4 ultras, so you know yourself, it'll pass. So I done a podcast with Tom Evans, and he
Legend, Major
yes,
Evans.
yes, he said a point, and I think people should have an understanding of this. Like Tom said, you have to expect it to hurt. So when it does, you're more adept to deal with it. So when it does hurt, you know it's going to pass, and you just have to ride it. Like when you spoke to Craig,
Yeah.
and Craig said about you have mad conversations with yourself, and you, especially in like I've never done anything extreme like Craig, like 300 milers, but you do go to war with yourself in an ultramarathon, and it's understanding that you're going to hurt at the start of the race. So when it does come, you're less likely to drop out or succumb to those. Oh, sorry, Lee, just walk.
Do you talk to yourself out loud?
Yeah.
Out loud? Like,
Yeah.
do you talk to yourself in the third person, or do you talk to yourself? Do you say, Lee, come on? Or do you say, what? How do you talk to yourself?
It's usually more propensity than that. So it's usually swear words like, come on, you effing idiot. Or yeah, massively. Like even when I tend to go quiet. If I'm in the hurt locker, I don't know if anybody else does it, but like the miles will pass by and I won't even take in my surroundings. I'll literally just be focused on trying to get through it. So before you know, it's like driving.
Yeah.
So when you drive somewhere on the motorway, sometimes you get to a destination like, shit, how the hell have I got here? I'm generally like that when I'm in a race and I'm like in a bit of a low spot because of nutrition or something like that. Then I'll 3 miles later, I'm like, Jesus, what happened there? But yeah, I do shout to myself, like, come on. Like if I walk a hill, like which I usually do, but like if I don't start running it, then I'll say, get a fucking grip, get going.
Yeah. You champion quite a lot, telling people to run with a smile on their face, don't you? Why do you say that to people?
Because you can never be, or you can never like smile and be unhappy at the same time. So if you're in pain, smile, because instantaneously your thoughts will go away from your pain, your worries. If you smile, nothing hurts. And that's true in a race. Like when you're 30 miles deep, if you're in pain, just smile at people. Like I'm the most outgoing person and I'll speak to everyone.
Yeah.
And that helps me as well as helping them, I think.
Lizette is popped in. Nice to see you, Lizette. Thanks for showing up. We would love you to. Thanks for joining us. Josh is still here. All praise to the champ on the VOGUM. Well,
yes,
he's taken on something a little bit more than the VOGUM this year after last year's incredible. Should we talk about that? Oh, Yeah, we will. Let's talk about that. Let's go to the VOGUM. I've got a little slide here. Look, I'm really organised, aren't I? Yeah, Lee said he could have sent this to me earlier. It took me about half an hour to make this slide. So Lee is taking on the Pegasus Slam this year. He won the VOGUM last year, and as you can see, it's got these amazing names, and it is 6 ultra marathons in 6 months, starting next weekend. The South Canham, 40 miles of Monmouthshire and the Brecon Canal. Monmouthshire, where I grew up. Lee, I don't know if you know, I'm a Chepstow boy. Lived there for quite a long time. Or grew up in Chepstow for my childhood. Then we got the Howham in mid Wales, which I know that's not a very good description. It looks a bit scary to me. And we all know, well, you know about the VOGUM, you know all about it. The Pigham, which a mountain peak, sounds like it's like the highest elevation of the 6, 5,000 feet, I think, round the mountain of Abergavenny.
It's a new addition as well.
Oh, all right. And then we have the long one, the big one, 5th one in the Idem around the
that is brutal.
Yeah.
Senny Bridge training area. It's basically a full loop around Senny Bridge training area.
We get rid of that banner. It's in the way, isn't it? What have I got? Mental training here. Right. And then we got the Ridham, which I've heard of before. I listened to Running is Bullshit, and they talk about these events all the time as well. The Rhymney Valley Ridgeway Walk. I don't know why I called it a walk there. I think that's just from the website. So here they are. Looks quite simple, really, Lee, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's easy, isn't it? A couple of hours out.
Which one are you looking forward to the most?
The VOGUM. Only because I get to try and go back and defend my title. And the guy that I took it off, Alex Wellerty, is a infamous Team GB endurance athlete. God. Yeah, and he's coming back.
Now, you see,
apparently.
I'm a dad, right? So every time I hear, and I'm quite old, I'm 50 now this year. I'm 50. When I hear people saying this is why I don't win ultras, by the way. When I hear you say that, I'm thinking, Lee, you're doing 6 ultras. If you put it all on the line to beat the VOGUM and beat this guy who runs for GB, what's going to happen in the Pigham, the Edam, and the Ridham? You've got another 110 miles to go 4 weeks later.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you have. How are you approaching doing 6 ultras in 6 with that mindset of, I'm going to beat this bloke? And that's fine. That's the way you are. I get it. But I'm interested to know how you are planning to train, and then maybe, start and then rest, and then train back up and then rest and all that sort of stuff. So how are you taking this on? 6, one at a time, or what? How are you doing it?
So I think the toughest one for me, I say the toughest, or the most unusual one for me, is going to be this South Canham, because it's flat. It's a canal. So there's no respite. Like in the VOGUM, there's different terrain. You're up, you're down.
Yeah.
You're using different muscle groups.
Yeah.
For 40 miles on the canal, there's not going to be any give up, any let up at all. I spoke to Reese, and he confirmed, he was like, yeah, you'll be crying for a hill by the end of it.
Yeah.
But I've already looked at this, and essentially you are racing, but when you know yourself, when you do an ultra marathon, you're not 180 heart rate. It's a contained effort for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So the way I'm going to work it is there's 4 weeks rest between each. So the week commencing after the run will be a recovery week, probably 40 to 50 miles, easy miles. The week after will be a dedicated week, depending on the next event. So if it's hilly, it'll be in that area or the same type of training.
Right.
And then the next week again will be the same. And then 1 week drop off, ready for race. And that's how I'm going to approach it. So a week recovery, 2 weeks focused, and a week drop off.
The last ultra I did was 100k along the Thames Path, and that's flat as a pancake. Do you want to know what I did? Do you want a tip from me?
Go on.
I did a walk. I ran 5k, walked 5 minutes, ran 5k, walked 5 minutes, every single 5k, because there was no hill. There was no walking up the hills. You don't need to walk for 5 minutes, but maybe you could adopt a I'm going to run for this amount of time. And when it clicks over, maybe give yourself, and I use those 5 minutes to drink, eat food, sort myself out, heart rate goes back down, and then carry on again. So every half an hour, it was the same as every half an hour. So every half an hour I was walking, eating, drinking, and then carrying on again. I wasn't fit enough to do that for 100k, by the way. I was fit enough to do that for about 60k, and then afterwards it was just hanging on.
Well, that's it. That's everybody though. Nobody trains that distance. Like when I've not run 40 miles in training. Like I'm purely relying on my mind getting me through those last 15 miles that I haven't trained for.
Yeah. Today is saying, wow, only a month recovery. He's only given himself a week's recovery today. So he's going to be training for 3 of those weeks. And Lizette saying it is just amazing. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So you didn't mention much about strength and conditioning, Lee. Lots of running. Well, building up to these events, do you do much stuff in the gym? And if so, what do you do in the gym?
So I'm more focused on the body weight functionality side of things.
Yeah.
So in the night, and this is pretty much every night, in bed, I'll do lateral leg raises, clams, bridges, and throughout the day, every day, I'll do a couple of sets of single leg pistol squats. And I haven't squatted or lifted in the gym for, I don't know, 18 months, 2 years maybe.
Well, it's called strength and conditioning, isn't it? People seem to not think about the word conditioning. And especially my age, when I'm 50, I feel it's even more important. A bit mobility and conditioning your body to be flexible, to be able to move the way you need it to move every single day. So you do clams and stuff every day. Is that right?
Yeah, every single night. Yeah.
Wow, that's really good. So instead of just doing a session, you do it every day. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And so building up, you talked about the different blocks of training. What about your build up to the first one? How's that been going, building up to the first one? As in, what do you do in a month?
So evidently,
do you write a training program, or do you just?
Yeah. So when I've trained previously, I like to have a slow, steady build of mileage. I'm a massive advocate of running slow and running easy. And if you see my Instagram, I get some hate for preaching running slow, because running slow really does make you fast. So I'll only do one hard session a week, and up until I've not run for 4 days this year. So every other day I've run. I was on a run streak, but I had a bad patch with attacks and work and stuff like that, where I'd done 8 half marathons in 8 days 2 weeks ago. So my training, I run every day. Periodization, I'm a fan of a drop-off week. But ultimately, with my attacks, it hasn't been plain sailing. So it's just been get the miles in when I can, if I can, and as much as I can. So, yeah, as a rule, 90%, what's my watch saying? I'll tell you. It is 91% easy.
Yeah.
So that's my training.
Zed wants to know what's the furthest you do run in training, building up to these ultras. What's the furthest distance that you run?
This block, and with the South Cannon mile being flat, I actually run a marathon around my local town in my stag, which is a 1.5 kilometer loop, 28 laps. Yeah.
God, that's excellent mindset training as well, right?
Well, perfect. It's perfect so for the Cannon, it's going to become same in it. It's going to be just the repetitiveness of keeping a 740 or 750 minute mile just continuously. So when I done the marathon around town, I was like, I want to replicate that in the fact that it's flat with a little up and down incline, really, but also the fact that it's repetitiveness. So yeah, not only am I training Lizette, is it? Not only am I training my fitness, I'm training my brain as well.
Impressive, mate. Impressive. Do you like running with people mostly, or do you like just getting on, do it yourself? Or
Yeah, so I do most of my running alone.
Yeah.
But if I can, I'll drag people in. And there's a lad local to me, Josh. We've become really good friends. We met through running. I hadn't known him previously,
Mhm.
and try and get as many long runs in with Josh as I can. And I set up a Facebook group purely for running. Excuse me. In 2019, called Vet I Run.
Oh yeah.
To promote
Yeah.
better mental health through positive mindset and physical activity. So most of my runs are done on my own, but I will try at least once a week because of the location I'm in.
Yeah.
My two close mates live a 35-minute ride away, and it's
Okay.
not always convenient because me and my wife only have the one car now.
Yeah.
Most of my running, I'm like in the peak of the valleys, has to be on my own.
Okay. I'm going to talk about gear now. When you, I'm laughing because your last video, was it yesterday, the story, and you got up and you forgot to put your shorts on, didn't you?
Yeah. So
Funny.
yeah. So
like,
I
forgot
can't
to put my
run.
shorts on.
Yeah. I can't run without the half tights on because of my
Yeah.
my quads are so big.
Yeah.
I get fat man's rub.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that's politically correct. I get chafing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so I have to run with half tights to stop that restriction. Well, I've been trying because of obviously this new job. I can't run in the night because it's impacting my social life with my wife and my daughter. So I've made a commitment that none of my runs now, unless my missus or daughter is shopping or elsewhere occupied, will not be in the evening. So I've been making a conscious effort to get up early. I was about 25, 30 minutes in. I was like, I'm a bit chilly. Like, I know it's early morning, but I'm a bit chilly. I looked down, I didn't have any shorts on.
I bet nobody noticed either, did they? It just
No,
looked like a pair
it
of
was
shorts,
dark, wasn't
weren't
it?
they?
So
Yeah.
and I do look like shorts. So
Today, who always pops in and says a few comments. We appreciate you tuning in, mate. He's talking about what he does. Prefer body weight strength as well. Single leg wall squats, single leg barefoot balance. Yeah, that ankle strength and foot strength. By the way, how important is that? And running in place to 180 cadence. Is that running up and down on the spot? Wow.
no, I think that's more like skipping, isn't it? So
okay,
I
of
think
course.
I think like that 180 cadence just teaches the body turnover. But single leg, like I'll stand brushing my teeth on one leg or washing the dishes on one leg. I'm a massive firm believer, like when you break down running, you're hopping or jumping on one leg. So if you can't stand on one leg or do a pistol squat for 30 seconds, like you shouldn't be running. So single leg, I will do every single day in some shape or form, whether it's standing up off a chair on one leg and sitting back down, or brushing my teeth or washing the dishes. I'll do it every single day.
I struggle with one of my legs is better than the other. Like one of my legs, I can balance on one leg, no problem, and the other leg is not very good at all.
Yeah, well, you know what the solution is to that, don't you? How would you get better at anything?
Keep
By
training
doing it.
Okay,
Like,
all right.
it's like running. You get better running by running. You get better at math by doing math. If you want perfectly balanced calf muscles or balance and proprioception is massively underrated. I've got a Bosu ball. Have you seen one of them?
Don't know.
It's basically it's not here. It's like a little rubber thing and then a wood platform.
Oh yeah. I've got one. Yeah.
that activates all your stabilization muscles in your ankles. So you're then less likely to twist an ankle on the trails or get injured in your ankle area because of you built a strong system, kinetic system.
Okay. And how often should people be working on their foot balance and just like fitting it into their everyday life? You're saying, well,
not my my look on it is you have to find what works for you. So just because
Yeah.
I'm saying I do it doesn't mean that's going to work for you. So don't everybody watching go away and start trying to do
I get it.
resistance band lateral leg raises every single day. But as a must, you have to be doing strength and conditioning at least once a week. And whether that incorporates your resistance bands, your single leg stuff, you have to teach your body to do it, and it has to become a routine.
I find a lot of people say, I can't fit it in. I can't fit another. I'm running 4 times a week. I can't fit it in. What I've found is that
Nonsense.
I come in and do it straight away after a run. So it's the same block of training. So I come in from the run. I've warmed up. I just go into the front room as part of my cool down, if you like, or what, it's not a cool down, but then I'm doing my strength and conditioning, and then I'm going for a shower. So I've not had to find another part of my day to fit it in.
There's always ways again about it. Like normal day-to-day tasks, you can just stand there. I'll stand there in a post office queue or a shop queue, and I'll be on single leg doing single leg calf raises. I have no qualms at all.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I will be the weirdo stood in line.
Yeah.
On one leg doing calf raises.
Absolutely, that's good. So it's good to know. It's good to, especially as you get older and older as well. Okay, let's talk about gear, because everybody likes talking about gear. We're all runners. We love talking about gear. People want to know about what sort of gear that you use, Lee. Obviously, tell us about your shoes that you've decided you're going to run, or the selection of shoes that you're going to wear for the Pegasus Slam coming up.
Go
on.
I'm going with for the first race. It's a flat canal race. I'm going with the Vaporfly Next Percent 2.
Right.
But there's a sort of conundrum here that I've got, because I think I carry, better form, faster speed, and better technique in my Tempo Next Percents. Now the only problem is they are hanging on for dear life. I've used them a lot. I think I've got like over 300 miles in them. So I'm going to go with a Vaporfly 2, but I'm going to have my wife at around halfway with the setup that we've got, and I'll have the Tempo Next Percents there if needs. So yeah, I'm going with the Tempo Next Percents to start off.
Have they got
no, the Vaporfly 2.
So they got much grip. These shoes have got much grip. I'm not really.
It's a canal. Yeah, I don't.
Just for the first one, you talk about.
Yeah, I don't foresee. Right. No, I wouldn't, because it's a flat canal race.
Right. Okay.
And I want to carry some speed. I think this is the only race apart from the back end of the VOGUM that I'll be using a road shoe.
Yeah. I know you switched them out, didn't you? Towards the end, put your afterburners on and cross the line 2 minutes before the other guy. Right? Was it 2 minutes?
4
minutes, because you switched to the Alpha Flies, maybe.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And what about the mountainous races that you're going to be taking part in? Obviously, the Vaporflies aren't going to be taking to those, no?
At the moment, I've got the North Face Vective Infinite.
How are they doing? They're good?
They're so comfy on the feet. But I'm having dramas with the, I don't even know what to call it, around the ankle, where when you walk, the trainer expands. I'm having dramas with stones getting in. Now, I've tried the runner's knot. I've tried wearing thicker socks. So I don't know if that's going to be a hindrance. So I might go back to my Saucony Peregrine ST 12 STs, the speed laces. So it's going to be between those two, the North Face and the Saucony Peregrine 12 ST.
Thought about wearing gaiters, maybe? Was that a bit OTT? Gaiters, you can.
No, I think the heat would.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about gaiters. It's like calf socks. I'm not sure about the heat. I don't think I'd handle the heat on the ankle, like the sweat.
Yeah. You still got those other trainers to fall back on, have you? You still got them, or do you have to go out and buy a new
pair? I got them. Yeah. Right. I've got them. Yeah.
Do you think? I mean, I've never thought about doing 6 ultras in 6 months. Are they going to manage them all? I mean, how many? Is that enough distance? I mean, how many miles is it in total? 200?
250 or 260, I think.
Yeah.
No, I'll be purchasing new shoes.
You got your
Probably.
Reeboks.
Yeah. Well, I actually done
I know you love your Reeboks.
the race before that, the Vale. I done 20 miles in the Reebok Floatroid 4s.
You're a big champion of those, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Fair play. Will you be using poles? Do you ever use poles on the mountain races?
No, I find it takes away from, so when I'm running, I'm eating or drinking, and my running technique heavily relies on the fact that I like to focus on form. I think with running poles, there'll just be too much hassle. Having to pull them away if I'm not using them, or having them strapped down when I'm trying to eat and trying to drink, when I change songs on my music, or I've never used them. And when I saw them when I was running from Spain to France in that staged event.
Yeah. They're a lot used, aren't they, in Europe?
Yeah, they're massively used. But I'm a squaddy. I was just hands on legs, and that's how I get up the hill.
Yeah, fair dues. So tell us about some of the bits of kit that you rely on then. Say maybe if you're going to pick up 3 bits of essential bits of kit that you need on one of your runs to get you to that finish line that you know you can rely on. What are you taking?
Vaseline.
Yeah.
That's essential, yeah. That's so Vaseline is a big for me. Like I've said, my quads and calves are massive, so I get bad friction. So if I don't vase up on the long runs, then I'll suffer.
Okay.
Number 2, I can't do any ultramarathon without Imodium.
Yeah.
No matter how much I train my stomach, like I'm drinking precision hydration now. I'd rather prevent the fact that I'll need to go to the toilet, rather than even if it takes me, like in my last one, I took Imodium at the start and then Imodium about 20 miles. I'm bad
after. Go for a wee as well, does it?
No,
does it?
No,
okay,
God, no,
right.
no,
okay,
no.
Fine.
It's just the
number
other
2.
one.
Yeah.
But so those 2 are essential, and then the third one is probably Tailwind.
Oh yeah, I use Tailwind. What's your favorite flavor?
It's got to be the Cola Cube.
Wow.
Yeah.
Flashback old school 80s vibe there. Cola Cube.
Cola Cubes. Yeah.
I like what's the one I like? Wild Berry, I think. That's quite I like.
They're all nice, to be fair. Like I do. I'll use Naked for the first 2-3 hours of a race, just because I don't want to jeopardize my stomach. So I'll just use Naked. So I'll have 1 bottle of Tailwind and 1 bottle of water every hour.
So okay, that's I'm interested in this a lot. Because how do you carry your Tailwind? Do you put it in the sachets? Do you put it in pouches? Do you put it into bags? How do you just pick it up at checkpoints? Are you given? How do you manage it?
I'll start off the race with 1 Tailwind, 1 water, and in my backpack, I'll have more soft flasks with Tailwind in. So what I'll do, just a powder. So what I'll do, when I get to a checkpoint, I'll grab 1 from my back, fill that up, fill 1 water up, and put an empty in my back. So I've got 1 water, 1 Tailwind, and all Tailwind in my back. When I come to another checkpoint, 1 will go away, 1 will stay water, pull a Tailwind out, refresh, and I don't eat.
Right.
I had a couple of oranges on the last couple of aid stations, last 2 aid stations. Apart from that, if you were persistent with your Tailwind and your salt tablets, you don't need it.
Yeah, I didn't. On the Thames Path, I was doing Tailwind bananas.
Yeah.
And I didn't take any salt tablets at all. And I struggled massively in the second half. I didn't want to put enough calories in, I think. Okay, well, that's really interesting. Another question from our mighty Tadeus here, who asks loads of questions. He's excellent. What backpack do you use, mate, when you race?
So I did have an Ultimate Direction that I had for 8-9 years. I used the same backpack, but now I've got the Solomon Advanced Skin 8.
Oh yeah. Great bit of kit.
It's not bad. I paid
Mhm.
had a deal on it. I paid I had it for a present. I think I paid like 58 quid or whatever, £59. But yeah, it seems to be a good bit of kit. It sits well.
Mhm.
I had to send one of them back because it was too small for me. But
Yeah.
the only thing that annoys me with it is the cord, the leftover cord. No matter how much I tie it up or tuck it away, it still comes loose and hits me in the face. So I'm going to have to sort that before the race.
8 litre, quite small. Is that going to be all right for the 50 miler?
I don't need to carry anything, do I?
Okay.
Like I said to you, it's literally the Pegasus. The kit list is not as substantial as some other races I've seen for no significant reason. So there's, if you narrow it down, you can get your kit quite slim, without carrying too much. So for 50 mile, it'll be no different. The only thing it'll be is at the halfway point, I'll have my wife with probably some savouries, some flat cork, and more tailwind in bottles. But apart from that, you don't need to change your kit.
So you will be eating some food then, savoury food, halfway on the 50 miler. Okay. What about?
So yeah, I do like the Crispies, the Rice Crispy Squares. Only if if I'm in a hole, like.
They're your pick me up. They're your backups. Oh, I like it. I like it. I had a question that's going completely out of my head. Okay. So we talked about, we've been talking about nutrition. I had nutrition on here. I just said here, do you pack light, rely on checkpoints for food? No, you don't. You carry all your water. It sounds like your wife is excellent at helping you. Oh yeah. Tips on food intake. When and how often? So do you have like a regime on the tailwind, or just take a sip when you feel like it? How do you take it? What do you do?
Yeah. So essentially for me, as a minimum, I have to drink every 5K. So imagine your marathon training. It's a lot more difficult to train when you're marathon training because you're running at speed. I have to have a good 3 mouthfuls of tailwind every 5K if I have, no matter what. Doesn't matter if I've been sipping walking uphill. And then every 40 minutes or 45 minutes, I'll have a salt tablet. And that is my routine. So 3 mouthfuls of tailwind every 25 minutes, and then every 40 to 45 minutes, a salt tablet.
I've got to get on board with these salt tablets. Tell me more about them. What brand do you use and how do you take them?
So listen, on the Veil Ultra 2019, I died the death that nobody's ever seen. I was doing well. And the same on the Celtic Ultra, exactly the same. Like I said to you, I've always been a middle of the pack runner. No matter how fit I am,
right,
cramp always got to me.
Okay.
And in the Celtic Ultra, which is 31 miles, 50k, I was in the absolute hurt lock. Everything cramped, my hips, my face, because my attack, my jaw, everything.
Right.
My legs, I just couldn't move. And somebody gave me a salt tablet, another runner, and within 5-10 minutes, it surpassed. I was running again. I was like, why haven't I been using these? And then no joke, I didn't change my training. I done the Veil Ultra a couple of weeks later, used salt tablets, come second. I thought, there's something to this.
Game changer.
Again,
yeah.
I started tailwind and salt tablets on the VOGUM, and I didn't drop off. And I was being chased because the guy in second is a phenomenal runner as well. But yeah, salt tablets and tailwind absolutely changed the game.
So what brand and how do you take them? Do you put them in, is it a different pocket, or are they
Precision Hydration? They're like $6.99 for a pack of like 20 maybe. And I tend to use either like a small bag, or what I have used is a Tic Tac box.
Oh yeah, of course.
So when you get a Tic Tac box, put a bit of tissue in the bottom so they're not bouncing about. Drop your salt tablets in.
Yeah.
And then so that'll be my strategy this race. Is I'll have 7 or 8 tablets. They're like a capsule in a Tic Tac
Right.
box.
Yeah.
And yeah, one every 40 minutes. It'll change your life.
When I finished the Thames Path, the urine colour was, I didn't know what the hell was, I didn't know what was going on. It was like dark brown or something. I was like, what the hell is that? I was a bit worried. I was fine afterwards, but I was like, that must have been that. It must have been that. I was out for 15 hours or whatever. And I was doing electrolytes. And one of my questions was electrolytes or salt tablets. That just shows you my ignorance towards it.
Yeah.
Because I thought you did one or the other, because I thought in my ignorance that Tailwind had enough salt in there to see me through. And
Tailwind's pretty much calorie based. It's replacing the calories and sodium, calories that you need within that hour for what you're burning. But then outside of that, like normal day-to-day supplements, I take magnesium, zinc, cod liver, omega-3.
Yeah.
So there's supplements that I take every day outside of that that keep me ticking over. And I don't know the science behind it, but if it's a placebo, it's a placebo. But it makes me feel good. So
no, I don't. I very much doubt it's placebo. But I've been picking up loads of stuff. I really appreciate these tips. It's excellent. It's good to hear about, mate. Right. I've talked a lot about gear. We talked about nutrition. We've talked about training. I do like to talk about minds. And there is something very close to your heart that you are involved in, and it is these guys, Big Moose. Tell me about Big Moose and why you're involved in them and why people should know about them.
Okay, so through lockdown, it's been ever prominent anyway, but the suicide rate in the UK, besides the military alone, and these are not a military charity by any shape or form, the suicide rate is ever increasing. There's like one every 90 seconds or something stupid. Big Moose was set up by a lad called Jeff, who lost a good mate. And him and his daughter actually decided to climb Kilimanjaro. I think she was 15. And she raised, I think, Jeff, if he watches this, I think she raised like £25,000. And that was the start of Big Moose. And what Big Moose do is the waiting list for therapy is ridiculous. And in that period where people need it most and they're most vulnerable and they're waiting, is the most potential for them to commit suicide or to self-harm. What Big Moose do is offer free therapy and counselling to people for free. Now, the reason I chose Big Moose, and we spoke about this earlier, I hate, and I know it's a strong word.
It is,
but I hate asking for money.
Yeah.
I hate raising funds.
Okay.
But I teamed with Big Moose purely because I wanted to step outside my comfort zone. When I had a good chat with Jeff, and I set a lofty target of £10,000, and I was like, look, I'm going to work my best towards that target. And the reason I chose Big Moose is therapy's changed my life. Like, I never once thought that I'd find myself in therapy, and I was in therapy for pain.
Right.
But with that pain come other issues. So when I went through therapy, I'm lucky because I say I'm lucky. I'm in the military, so I had 6 free sessions. That's all you're allocated. After those 6 sessions, if you need therapy, then you have to pay. When I saw the benefits of it, I was like, why don't people know about this? Or do they know about it and they're not using it because of the wait time or because they're scared of the stigma around therapy? And essentially, having been through the process, not with Big Moose, no direct links. I went through a company called Health Assured. But I've saw the potential benefits and I saw the pitfalls of why people probably are not going for it. And I want to shout from the rooftops
Right.
the benefits of it, and having lost many friends from PTSD, like as a veteran, soon to be, I think that if more people were, one, comfortable about stepping outside their comfort zone, saying that they need help, and I know it's the last thing on their mind once you're in that position, the last thing you want to do is reach out. But if you've got the courage to actually seek help, therapy changes lives. And Big Moose have proven statistically to save at least 5 people's lives, whereby they have come to Jeff and said, I was just about to take my life. Going through therapies turned my life around. And that's 5 people in the last couple of months. I spoke to him a while back. So it's having a positive proven effect. Like on May the 13th to May the 14th, Big Moose are running a 10 times up and down Penavan in 24 hours, 10 cents, all to raise money. And it's projected to raise at the moment, if everybody entered, raises £400, it's 44,000 people, £44,000, but then 111 people then can benefit from free therapy and help. I'm on like 200 quid because I'm horrible at fundraising.
Okay.
I don't know how to reach out. I've been thinking about going to businesses and saying, oh, look, I'm doing this. I'm doing 6 ultramarathons. So ultimately, whilst it's selfish, I'm doing the 6 ultramarathons for personal growth. I'm also doing them to raise awareness about mental health and therapy and suicide rates, because no matter the situation you're in, again, I'll lead it back. A positive mindset will change your day, change your life. And Big Moose are taking massive steps towards helping people. So I'll continue to keep trying to be an advocate. And I have shit days with my attacks, and there's days where, like, people say, oh yeah, you can't be positive all the time. Like, I have down days where I feel like lack of motivation. Motivation's nonsense, but not wanting to do stuff. But ultimately, I'll always come back to the person I am now through therapy, and I will make the decision to do the hard things. So if other people can benefit and change their life from therapy, then I'll continue doing these stupid, crazy running events.
Fair play to you, and I'm sure they are very proud that you're representing them in these amazing events that you're taking part in. This is going to be an incredible year for you. I would love to talk to you again after you've taken part in these 6 events. Are you? I really dread asking this question. Are you going out to win every single event, Lee?
No, see, this is a massive bravado thing, isn't it? Like,
I don't know, is it? You tell
it
me.
is. No, it is, and like, you'll often hear people say, so we're in the YouTube scene, and you often hear people say that they do these events for challenging themselves and stuff. The reason that I done the VOGUM is purely because I wanted clarity.
Yeah.
That I had value. Like, I wanted to prove to myself that despite the shit that I'd been through with my brain condition, my attacks, losing my career, I wanted validation that I could fucking be tough and I could do anything that I wanted. And when I said I was going to do this race, winning wasn't the final destination for me. That was just another driving factor to ensure that I secured what I'd been training for, and to prove again that therapy and mindset had worked. So moving forward, as long as I leave everything out on the course, I don't care about winning. In regards to the races, I don't. Like, it's not a bravado thing, but what I do want to do is, I don't want to finish a race and leave anything there. So if I haven't won or given a good place, if I then say to myself, oh, you could have pushed you, or you could have gone a little bit faster, blah, blah, then that will be back to the drawing board. So ultimately, I'm not going out to win in regards to winning for bravado's sake, but I'm going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. Oh, you are, but you certainly are, mate. Your mindset is incredible. Your training mindset is amazing. And I can't not wish you the very best of luck. You don't sound like you need it, mate, to be honest. But thank you for taking the time out of your training to talk to me tonight. I really appreciate it. Apologies. Hopefully I don't do this every time I do an interview.
I can't wait to tune into your next one.
If I actually get it right, third time's lucky. Third time's lucky. Thank you for everybody that's tuned in live. If you're watching this on replay, I'm going to make some chapters in the video where you can jump to the different questions that we've talked about. So you can watch Lee and watch me trying to listen to what he's saying and take notes and all that sort of stuff. We appreciate a couple of people in the chat today. Thanks very much. Lee says thanks, Lee. Lizette, just talking about what you were saying about in your about our partner's ex. It's a hard thing to admit to, but it's so important, and you very eloquently put there. So please consider supportingly. People can find out about this through your socials, can't they, Lee? If they want to get in contact with you and find out, tell people how they can contact you to find out more about it.
Literally just go on. Yeah, literally go on Pursue Purpose on Instagram, Pursue Purpose _ and I document. I'm not as active as I should be, but I do try and document my training and any advice or any wit. I do have a YouTube channel, however, it's been stagnant.
Yeah.
But I do plan. Like, I picked up the GoPro the other day, and I just out on a run. I didn't really know what to say to it. It's been that long, but I would like to make, if not for me, for other people, a training series around these ultra marathons and mindset and mental health, and try and focus more into that. So I've been speaking to a lot of YouTubers like Dan Runs and Ben Notley and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like I speak to them daily, but like I say, my biggest thing is I try doing so many things at once and not narrowing down, because I was like, oh, that's not working, I'll try this. That's not working, I'll try this. I need to just do it for the reasons that I'm there for in the first place. And I did love making videos. I've got over 160 videos, I think, on my YouTube channel. They're not the best quality, but
very good.
I will come back. I will come back. So yeah, again, I think it's Pursue Purpose on YouTube and Pursue Purpose _ on Instagram.
And that's where people can find out about how to sponsor you to
so on there,
on the Pegasus Slam.
On there's a link for my website. So there's a free ebook on running easy. So knowledge is power. If you don't know about running or you want to get better at running, download it. You'll be a better runner tomorrow. There's also a link for my charity there, and there's a link for consultation if anybody does want in-depth one-to-one coaching. Fantastic.
Thank you, mate. I really appreciate
it.
It's been really, really interesting. I appreciate everybody that's joined in on the live stream, and I'm going to wrap it up. So thanks everybody that's been watching.
Cheers, everyone.
And, I hope you've enjoyed my little chat with Lee here, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.
Catch you later.
See you later.